All right, Lukka combo. Lukka cat combos. This deck's neat. It's doing a couple different things. So first off, it's got the Saheeli Rai plus Felidar Guardian 1-2 punch, the Splinter Twin style combo kill where Felidar plus Saheeli Rai kills people because it makes infinite 1/4s with haste. The other thing this deck does is Lukka turns any 3-drop in our deck into Emrakul, the Aeons Torn guaranteed. And the way this works is Lukka's -2 guarantees you get a creature with a higher converted mana cost. So we have some different 3-drops here, and those 3s are guaranteed to turn into Felidar or Emrakul. And if they turn into Felidar, Felidar comes into play, blinks Lukka, and then Lukka can downtick again after it's been blinked to turn Felidar into Emrakul. So if you Lukka -2 on any of these 3, sometimes you make a pit stop at Felidar along the way, but you're guaranteed to get to Emrakul assuming they don't have any interaction for you. Now, with this card Planebound Accomplice here, hey Zarim, thanks for the 28 months, I appreciate that. With Planebound Accomplice here, you can theoretically get Emrakul on the first turn of the game because Planebound Accomplice says you pay a red to put a Planeswalker from your hand onto the battlefield and sacrifice the beginning of the next end step. If you theoretically have Simian Spirit Guides in your hand, so you go land, triple Simian Spirit Guide, play Planebound Accomplice, activate Accomplice, put Lukka into play, Lukka turns Planebound into Emrakul, is a way to have that work, which seems pretty good. Happy quarantine subiversary. Thank you for the very generous tier 2 resub, Conchi Paws. I appreciate the quarter here. Be sure to take a peek at the deck queue. Let me know if there's anything you'd like to see in there a little bit sooner. Got a bunch of historic decks in there coming up that have HA3 cards in it. So you gotta hope not to hit the cat in that instance. No, if you hit the cat blinks Lukka, and then Lukka turns the cat into Emrakul. So any 3 is guaranteed to turn into this because it stops at a 4 and then ticks up. Hey, thanks for the 36 months, Omni. I appreciate that. Welcome back. And then anybody, if you're just joining us, before we dive in, I would like to plug, we've got a sponsorship with the mobile game that I play a ton of, Raid Shadow Legends. And in addition to being a mobile game, they also have a PC client that they're looking to advertise. So if you're looking for a really easy way to support my content, download the Raid PC client using my link there and play through the tutorial. It takes about 5 minutes. We can see there we have the little warriors counter. We're at 88. If we hit 180 in the next week, I get a bonus from them. So I appreciate everybody that takes a couple minutes of time to do that. And if you check out the game and you like it, be sure to pop in the subs Discord. We got a group of us in there that talk about it pretty constantly. So let's go ahead and pop it into a league here with this one and see how it goes. How long is the tutorial? It should take less than 5 minutes to play through if you're just clicking straight through it. Also, I also think the game itself is genuinely good. They've been advertised to the point that the advertising's kind of a meme, but I play... If you ask my wife, she would tell you I play an unhealthy amount of Raid. I like it. I like it a lot. We bump Maze's End. We definitely can Karn's Rate. Get that pumped up after we're done today. Yeah, this hand looks great, right? Wow, Arbor Elf's a good draw. Stay suspended a Lotus Bloom here, so it looks like our opponent is playing Emrakul. Or Emrakul Ad Nauseam. Sorry, we're playing Emrakul. Our opponent's playing Ad Nauseam is likely what it is. So our opponent that's not familiar with Ad Nauseam, they are essentially a 2-card combo deck that allows them to draw the entirety of their deck. And then they also use Simian Spirit Guide to kill us with the Lightning Storm. Oh, I don't have the link offhand. Can someone Can the mod that made the command get, or can someone grab me that link and I'll add it to the YouTube video in the command? That would be great. Okay, so I could theoretically put Emrakul into play this turn. Yeah, if we're a little bit lucky. So we go Utopia Sprawl here, red, and then we go this, untap, this, pitch this, Lukka, and then we Lukka this, and if we hit Emrakul or Felidar, we get Emrakul. Now we are pretty likely to have this happen. We're pretty likely to get a 3-drop, but this lets us get Emrakul guaranteed next turn, which might actually be too slow. The opponent has Lotus Bloom coming off a suspend next turn, which could mean that we're just going to die. So we're gonna get an Emrakul on our next turn, but our opponent might kill us on their next turn before the Emrakul can attack and annihilate them. Oh, they're actually just killing us this turn, huh? Yeah, okay, so they played Angel's Grace here, which says they can't lose the game till end of turn. And then they played Spoils of the Vault, which lets them name a card not in their deck and mill their deck out, so that way they get to win the game with Thassa's Oracle. So again, for people that aren't familiar with Modern, Modern has a lot of this, what I refer to as decks playing past each other. Modern, while there are interactive decks in this format, a lot of the decks are just looking to run people down, like you saw there. So like, our deck is looking to run them down, and they're looking to run us down. And we could basically just like play our Magic matches at opposite corners of the room, and then just like raise our hand when we win the game, and whoever raises their hand first wins. Alright, so I think because this is a race, I definitely want the Simian Spirit Guides. Not quite sure how we're supposed to board. I think I want Knight of Autumn so I can be a Scourge interactive post-board to like destroy their artifact mana. Is there a Jeff Hoagland Spotify playlist? There's a Pandora station because I'm a boomer. There's also a YouTube playlist of all the songs I've parodied over the years. Yeah, I think Pyromancer's probably the trim. It's nice that it helps us find cards, but I think that's probably true. I'm gonna try I'm gonna try one Spirit Guide too. Boomer's a state of mind. Boomer is a fact-resistant, hateful towards change state of mind. I think I'm supposed to mulligan this. It's just really slow. This is perfect. We get to go ahead and bottom Emrakul here. Oh, wait. If I put the Emrakul on the bottom, does that mean I deck with Lukka? That's what that means, right? Yeah, I need a fetch land, because Lukka, his templating here, for some reason, doesn't shuffle the other cards you exile back into your deck. And cheating Emrakul out with Lukka doesn't get you... Cheating Emrakul out with Lukka doesn't... No, it doesn't put them on the bottom. Cheating Emrakul out with Lukka doesn't give it haste. Yeah. Oh, it does put the rest of them out. What's the one that doesn't put the rest on the bottom? It is last line. Literacy's a big problem. Oh, is that, that's the teamer card. No, it's the Temur card. Yeah, the Temur card doesn't. It's a mutate creature. Also another new set card. That's so weird that those are templated differently. There are TFC emotes still there, right? It is. The TFC are lowercase. Hello, thanks for the half year. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Oh, I'm supposed to take a timeout because I didn't know the text on the card and I couldn't read. All right, so I think I'm supposed to Felidar Guardian here and just kill this rather than Lukka. Is that the line? Yeah, I have white mana with my thing here and with Birds of Paradise, so. I should have attacked first. Probably doesn't matter. We did anyways. They had Angel's Grace. Alright, we've died anyways. Our combo deck less linear than the opponent's and also not interactive enough to keep up. By the way, to the person who had asked earlier if they could check if they had successfully played through the tutorial to count for my thing, I actually have a dashboard that I can check for the raid sponsorship. Which, if I have a dashboard that gives me names, I could probably give an incentive. What if we gave a couple of deck queue points to people that played through the raid tutorial? Would that kick a couple of people who wouldn't otherwise do it to do it? Hey, Tap Plan, thanks for 16 months. The Unnamed, thanks for 21 months. Am I on the list? I don't see the name Scissor on the list, unless you used a different name when you created the account. Resubbing for the raid stuff. Raid is fun. We're gonna build a couple of characters. This should be going through some content today. The scene looks good. We have turn 2 this, so we can turn 3 get an Emrakul. Yeah, if we had Simian Spirit Guide, we could turn 2 them here. Is real. Abundant Growth Forest, eh? Is there an argument to waiting till turn 3 to play it? There might be an argument to just playing birds here. So that way, there might be an argument to just playing birds here, so that way I could cast Lukka. If you expect them to be a Scape Shift deck, though, there's merit to waiting. So again, if they don't kill this in response, we get Felidar here, which then Lukka turns Felidar into Emrakul. So this is a turn 3 Emrakul, the Aeons Torn. If you just did it, German, it doesn't look like it popped up yet. You'll see a notification on screen in addition to it popping up on my dashboard. Am I surprised it being played more in Modern? No. Like, one-shot Planeswalker abilities generally aren't good enough. Also, a funny side effect here is because we blinked this Lukka, we get to keep the Lukka. Is there some variant that'll be played in Historic? What set is Planebound Accomplice in? This is like a Vintage Master set symbol, right? Or is this Modern? Is this Modern Horizons? It's Modern Horizons, okay. To join the Discord server, you have to follow the directions on my website. Follow the directions on my website on a desktop computer. Alright, so... Can I just click submit? I think they're the Scape Shift deck. And if they're the Scape Shift deck, like, maybe I want this. Maybe. They play a lot of islands. Yeah. I mean, do they? Do they? They should be pretty interactive post-board, so I'm going to trim Spirit Guide as opposed to just going zoom zoom. Alright, since I have a dashboard for the raid stuff, anybody that successfully plays through that and gets counted on PC, you can have 3 points to bump something in the queue. And that includes people that have already done it. So if you did it yesterday or the day before, feel free to drop me drop me a message and let me know. Yeah, maybe I want Veil of Summer. What you'd like to bump up with. Yep, maybe. Maybe we'll get, if there's a game 3 we'll board in Veil of Summer, maybe. I don't know exactly how much. Correct, Forsmith. How do you use shillings to bump a deck? It says, tell me what you want to bump, and then just put the deck name in that little box there to tell me what you want to bump. Discord DM is preferred. It's easier to track. Yeah, there's actually 4 Hoaglandia clans, because raid clans are limited to 30 people. So you have a reasonable sized group of us that play at varying levels of experience. If you pop in the subs Discord, all the clans are listed there, and we all chat in one of the channels there. Hey, Zombie, thanks for the 5 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. I'm assuming Abzan Rights in the queue is HA3 Builder on crowd. Unburial Rights, Saban. Sounds good, Smookaloo. Yeah, that's how like the gacha genre works, Supali. So you can do 100% of the content of the game without spending any amount of money, but you can also spend up to ungodly amounts of money skipping over any content that you would like to skip over, and accelerating your pace of play is basically how it works. Your favorite deck in the past is Lantern. Oh, you know what? I totally forgot to respond to your Twitter tag, Lady Jack. It's the best prison side. You should try one of the Nexus of Fate decks, Lady Jack. There is both a Bant Nexus and a Jeskai Nexus deck that are both super reasonable. Yes, they've paid me more than I've spent. This is my 3rd segment with them. And they pay a pretty okay amount. I think there's a Devotion deck in there. If there's not, there probably will be soon, because Friction Obliterator. Discord's good stuff. My number 1 piece of advice when you join the Discord server, it's probably going to be a little bit overwhelming. Just take like 2 minutes and look at all the channels and mute the ones that aren't of interest to you. I periodically skim all the channels in there along with Christy to make sure people aren't being obnoxious or rude or anything like that. Not that that really happens too often in our community, but even I am not constantly in all of them because there's a lot of sections. Like, for instance, I don't sports ball. So I'm not in those channels. That's true. That's true. Right now, very little people are sports balling. I would assume as we get more of a handle on things, I would be surprised if sports are one of those things that take us that long to get back to. Once we have a good grip on like having adequate amounts of testing, sporting events without people in the stands are probably something that can return, from my understanding. Oh, that's a good point. I should not take Steam Events that board in 2 copies of Choke. Good call. Soccer's restarted in Germany. Yeah, I think baseball started in Korea, right? So, I think I just play Pyromancer here. And 2 German soccer players immediately tested positive. Yep. Yeah, I haven't watched Oliver's video yet for the week. Christy and I have been watching those together, and we haven't had time yet. You think sports will come back too soon? Very, very real chance of that. There are real financial incentives for that to happen. Farron, thanks for the 10 months. Oliver does quality stuff. If you're someone that doesn't watch Last Week Tonight and you're looking for an additional news source, can't recommend John Oliver enough. So, the opponent's archetype is like a Temur control deck based around Scapeshift. So, Scapeshift becomes lethal and they get 7 lands. So he could die as early as next turn if they have a growth spiral here. And they're actually putting Growth Spiral on top of their decks. Yeah, there's a strong chance we just die next turn. The fact that this card is fetchable is just so obscene. We need to plan to play. When they say need to plan to play with positive tests, do they mean let players who tested positive play, or play without the players who tested positive? What's the intention there? I feel like that's a potentially important distinction. That would probably make the most sense from a safety perspective. I would hope that's what they mean. I think on the play, I'm gonna board these Spirit Guides back in and board these Veils in. Go to an island somewhere and have playoffs. What do you do if you were charged twice for your subscription? You should reach out to Twitch support. Unfortunately, I do not have any control over any of the billing stuff related to Twitch. They take all of that off of me. Have we Saheeli'd and Emrakul? We have not. Oh, something exciting, by the way. In the State of the Game update yesterday, they announced that Thursday is going to add... I don't know, Elks. I don't know. Ballistic Whiskey, thanks to the brand new tier 1 sub. In the State of the Game update yesterday, they announced that we're getting a historic tournament mode. So that means for the Open on Saturday, we won't be playing using limited tournament matches with historic legal decks. We'll have an in-client mode that enforces historic legality as we would want and expect to have. So that's exciting. Thank you. Shout-outs to everybody who liked and retweeted that tweet. I appreciate you. Oh, I'm actually supposed to... Yeah, I'm supposed to Arbor Elf on one, actually. Yeah, whatever. Lukka's the combo card. Lukka turns any 3-drop into an Emrakul. I'm able to find the previous historic Open empty melee if I wanted to browse deck lists. If you go to jeffhoagland.com and click Hoaglandia Opens in the main navigation, you'll find video archives of all of our past Open Series events, as well as links to the previous pages. You should basically assume that anything multiple people would ask me for to want to have happen is going to happen here in Hoaglandia. And if it hasn't happened already, it's because I haven't thought of it, and I'll add it shortly. Space Martian, thanks for the 2/3 of a year. Welcome back. Longtime YouTube watcher, due to time zone differences, can't catch the stream live very often. Want to show my support. Hey, Whiskey, I really appreciate that. I'm glad you enjoyed the YouTube stuff. Thanks for helping me stick around. Yeah, and the open coverage is all broken up by match. You can easily flip through and find just the ones you care about. Small card. Thank you for the generous tier 3. You know, credit where credit is due. I actually really like Modern at the moment. Modern is currently my second favorite format behind Historic right now. Maybe I'm just supposed to play Lukka there while they're tapped out. And thank you for the generous tier 3 small car. I mean, it's kind of a low bar, because, like, the rest of the formats, like, are total smoldering dumpster fires. How goes Lukka Cat? We lost to Ad Nauseam in the first match because they were just faster than us. I think there's a big gap in quality between Historic and the rest of the formats. For me personally, that's currently the case. In terms of my personal enjoyment, I prefer Historic greatly to all of the alternatives. I agree that even with Modern being reasonable, though, I don't intend to make Modern any cheaper to submit decks because the interface on Moto is just clunky and rough. My order of enjoyment of formats change if they're all on Arena. I think my enjoyment of Modern would go up. And maybe Pioneer. I genuinely haven't played much Pioneer since the formats changed, so I don't really have strong feelings about Pioneer in general at the moment. But as far as like Legacy, Legacy's Legacy. So I don't know that like my enjoyment of Legacy would really improve. Thanks, Wolfwood. I appreciate you keeping me around. And this is, I feel like this match here, as well as this match here, as well as the one against Ad Nauseam just now, really shows kind of some of the weakness of a deck like this. The fact that we're a combo deck, that when we Emrakul doesn't actually win the game the turn we combo, means that the many other powerful combo decks in Modern, like Scapeshift, like Ad Nauseam, really give us a potentially very hard time. Well, I can always attack it this turn, Smookaloo. Them losing the Renin 6 doesn't really do anything. It's like attacking the Renin 6 proactively doesn't accomplish anything. And like now I can guaranteed turn this into a thing, but like I'm probably dead next turn. There's a very, very good chance I don't have... Actually, you know what I should have done here? What I should have done was... I should have Lukka'd this pre-combat, and if I hit Felidar, blink this to try and find Saheeli and kill them this turn. We hit Emrakul anyway, so it just didn't matter. How do they use Scapeshift to kill us? With this card here, Valakut the Molten Pinnacle. They Scapeshift all their lands into a bunch of mountains and kill us with that. Forgot to fill my water bottle. I'm going to auto pass and go do that real quick. I think I might need to start setting a traditional alarm clock. My kids have been off school so long, they're not waking up at the butt crack of dawn anymore. I don't know what spreading algae is. An enchanted land becomes tapped, destroy it. No, that card's not competitive. Modern is a format that while I'm enjoying it, part of the reason I'm enjoying it is because we're mostly playing good decks, not taking weird build-arounds or brews for this format. Modern's a format where the card pool is deep enough that like there's enough established good decks so we can play them with good variety. Yeah, for $100, I'll lose 2 matches with whatever you want me to lose 2 matches with. But just to like keep it clear and my feelings on things, like the thing you're asking me to like play. Well, you know what's turn off auto yields anyways. I tried to turn it off so that way I could Seasoned Pyromancer there, but I wasn't fast enough, so. So I get to attack with Emrakul here, which means they lose 6 things. And then they'll lose 3 lands here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So we actually could die still next turn, right? Yeah, they didn't block because they went down to 6 lands, and they need Scapeshift with 7 lands to kill us. So if they have a land in hand, they can draw Scapeshift and kill us next turn. Opponent taking the play to win line seems smart. So, Landscape Shift still kills us after he attacked with the Spaghetti Monster here. So again, this has a mechanic called Annihilator 6, so whenever it attacks, our opponent's to sacrifice 6 permanents. Maybe a cantrip here. Again, not really super interactive, mostly playing past each other, just like, can my opponent pop off before my thing that popped off gets them? Is the answer they're basically trying to, question they're basically trying to answer. Am I dead yet? Yay! Not dead yet. Maybe you shouldn't have put 80 cards in your deck, opponent. Maybe if you need to find your 4 of, you should play less than 80 cards. Have you considered playing fewer than 80 cards? Did that occur to you? Where's your big bird now, opponent? Where's your big bird now? We did beat a deck with the companion. Pre-recorded stream, something like that. If we draw Planebound Accomplice, this hand puts Emrakul into play on turn 2. If we draw Planebound Accomplice, this hand Emrakul's on turn 2. We'll go Sprawl on 1, and then turn 2 we'll go Spirit Guide, Planebound, activate Planebound, Lukka, turn Planebound into Emrakul. Start with Oath of Nissa here, I think. Try and find a land. It's the same opponent or a new one. Different opponent. The Scape Shift deck is super popular right now. Also, if they are the Scape Shift deck, they're not playing Yorion. So, Astrolab's a card that I think should be banned in every format. It's a card that's very similar to Gataxian Probe in that, like, what it does is pretty uninteresting and I think unhealthy. It's like a less interesting, more splashable Brainstorm. See some folks in chat using the raid command. Thanks for checking out the sponsor. As a thank you to everybody that does that, I discovered I have a dashboard for that today. So if you install raid and play through the tutorial to count on my ticker there, you can bump a deck in the queue by 3 points. So thank you. Just drop me a DM on Twitch or Discord letting me know what name you use so I can reference it and then get it bumped up with what deck you want. No, double Simian Spirit Guide replay the Pyromancer is bad because the discards on Pyromancer are not optional, so I'd have to discard Lukka. You could definitely dealer choice those points, Solera. Alright. No, in the end game of Raid, you use the auto feature a lot. So there's an aspect of Raid that's like actively playing and like clicking and thinking about which moves you want to use through combat. But as you get deeper into the game, it becomes more of a building optimized teams game that can automatically clear through content. It's more like a puzzle solving game than a tactical combat game when you get into the really late part of it, except for the PvP aspect. Squirrel Squad, thanks for the 9 months. I appreciate that. Welcome back. Yeah, that should be it, German Space Ace. I don't know why it didn't pop up. So we're gonna go ahead and Planebound Accomplice here then. Yep. Yeah, there's a ticker here in the, oh, that's the Moto one, in the corner. That says little words. It's small, so it's not super obnoxious and intrusive. But there's supposed to be a thing that pops up there, because, like, no one's been added to my dashboard. What makes Astrolab so powerful? Astrolab is a card that, like Gataxian Probe, isn't inherently powerful on its own, so much as it's just crappy game design to basically make optimal decks start at 56 card main decks. Think of Astrolab as an effect similar to Once Upon a Time, only it goes in literally every deck that plays fetches and basics, basically. It's an effect that comes at a very minimal cost that has a lot of potential upside. There's a non-zero cost to this. You're technically paying a mana, but it's pretty trivial. It's a pretty trivial cost. Yeah, and it basically, like, what little color restrictions were left in Modern, it basically stripped out of the format. It makes playing lots of colors super, super trivial. That's good to know and makes sense. If you've already done it Terran Terror, you can't do it again, because they are trying to drive new people. So if you've installed it before, you probably can't re-up. Yeah, it feels in a lot of ways like obviously this card isn't as powerful as Brainstorm or Ponder, but it fills that same kind of similar role where it comes. Well, last time was different because they were doing mobile stuff, Terran Terror. I don't know. Like I said, I don't control the technology, so it's worked for 88 people. So people that it hasn't worked for, I don't have a why. I don't control their technology. If I did, I'd share. Yeah, it's a card that cards like this where there's just like, okay, if I can play this, I always should, and the cost to play this is low, so it ends up in lots of different decks is basically what it comes down to. I like Astrolab because it exposes the lie that Blood Moon punishes greedy mana bases. Yep. Ain't that the truth? I believe when you pick your champion, the tutorial's supposed to be done. Should just be 3 or 4 minutes. They added a few more. I should really create a new account and play through the tutorial at some point so I can tell people exactly what they need to know. Hey, thanks for the third of a year, Brace. I appreciate it. Welcome back. I think we're just jamming Planebound again, right? I'm gonna leave no red floating this time, so when they remand or counterspell me, I can play Arbor Elf out. And if they don't remand or counterspell, I can pitch Simian Spirit Guide. What are my thoughts on Mishra's Bauble? Mishra's Bauble, Gataxian Probe, Street Wraith, all of these are cards that I think should not be legal for a similar reason to Astrolabe. I think even before Luris was a thing, Mishra's Bauble is a card that should have been removed from Modern. How many remands is that now? I believe we've been remanded by these same two remands like 4 times. Mystic Sanctuary is incredibly frustrating to play against. I think this card made the format markedly worse. I don't know how I feel about Uro. Uro also helped hammer it down. The fact that Mystic Sanctuary and Uro go in the same decks is a little bit rough. I would be really disappointed if they banned Luris in Modern. I think Luris is just highlighting cards that have always been a problem, like Mishra's Bubble. I hope that if Wizards thinks Luris is a problem, they do 2 things. I hope they, 1, try banning Bauble first, and 2, if they don't want to do that, I hope they try unbanning Splinter Twin and Birthing Pod. Put more good cards into the format that you can't play with Luris as a companion. Whale poop. Companions are being fairly heavily played, and players are heavily resistant to change, so anything new that sees a significant amount of play is not okay. And this is the part where we just can't win the game anymore. So now they're countering our spell and returning Mystic Sanctuary to their hand, which then lets them Mystic Sanctuary get Cryptic Command back, so they get us in this endless counterspell loop while they beat us down. Yes, people freaked out a lot when Planeswalkers were printed, and people still freak out a lot about Planeswalkers. So I don't think we can race them, just pure race here. So I think I'm going to board these out. We're going to bring in Choke and Veil of Summer. Yeah, people are still complaining about the London Ball again. Do I want Path to remove Uro? No, I don't think becoming fully interactive is our route to victory here. I think I'd rather choke them and then use Veil of Summer to force through my stuff. A lot of people sold out of Magic when Planeswalkers were printed. I'm gonna give you a timeout for that because that's definitely a citation needed type comment. That sounds like some super low key FUD. Oh, you know what? Maybe I'm supposed to play the Sun one. Trying to high roll for the lands here. What matchup do you think Path comes in? Probably like the discard deck matchups to keep like their Tarmogoyfs and stuff off the table. Want to avoid fetching blue sources here because Choke is symmetrical, like old hate cards always were. So if we fetch an island, it's not going to untap for us. We also don't need blue mana because Oath of Nissa lets us cast Saheeli with whatever we want. So we have a Breeding Pool and a Steam Vents in our deck that Choke impacts. I name red here so that way we can cast Seasoned Pyromancer if we draw it. Symmetry in my hate cards doesn't sound like my magic, right? Should I buy some baubles to guarantee they get banned by 3 modern decks I've bought are Twin, Mardu, Pyro, and Mono Red Phoenix? Rough. It's a hard knock life. Do 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 do. Yeah, the graphics on the Raid PC client are definitely much crisper and cleaner than the mobile version, but it's still very clearly a port of a mobile game to PC. Like a lot of the UI elements are very large in a way that's clearly intended for touchscreens. At least it has a PC client. A lot of those games just like expect you to play it on like a Android emulator. So we have 5 mana total here. I think we're just going to recast the Choke. Morning, Duck Doolittle. Gonna get like Archmage's Charm Tier off of Basic Forest Astrolab. Astrolab. Do 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 do. Yep, because again, this card removes what little color restrictions were left in this format with all these triple color cards. This game is pretty much over. Yeah, right. They're gonna grab. Oh no, they can't. They can't start putting these back on top of their deck yet. So we'll see. Maybe. I don't know. I have 3 Veil of Summers in my deck, right? And I could hit lands. I could hit lands to be able to start double spelling here soon. If they have Cryptic Command this turn, it's probably over. The benefits of playing Remand over a hard counter. Remand draws a card. There also aren't 2-mana hard counters in Modern. Like, the card Counterspell isn't Modern legal. So it isn't like you can just, like, play Counterspell. Remand is generally played in decks that are looking to generate tempo. Because Remand's actually an incredible example of a tempo card. Because it trades 2 mana. It trades 2 mana for more mana, generally speaking. And it doesn't put you down a card. So the resource efficiency that you trade is favorable for the person casting the Remand. Yeah, Deprive's not free though, save in. Like these decks are incredibly mana hungry. It's not a strict free roll. Alright, if this gets countered, I'm gonna concede. So, our deck doesn't seem particularly good. I guess I really wasn't expecting it to be very good when we went in. This deck feels like it falls pretty solidly into the category that a lot of meme and new modern decks fall into, in that, like, when you look at what our deck is doing in terms of how linear it is, it's not very linear. In, like, terms of how quickly it kills the opponent when the opponent's ignoring it. And then in terms of being able to be interactive, it's also not particularly interactive. So it has a hard time both racing and disrupting things that are other fast decks in the format. And then, as you saw there, in a matchup where our opponent was incredibly interactive, we weren't really able to play through it. Yeah, the last deck feels like a good example of... The last deck is a good example of counterspells aren't a very interesting mechanic when... Counterspells are not a very interesting mechanic when every spell you play gets countered, right? Like when there's back and forth and the person using counterspells has to make meaningful decisions about which spells they're counterspelling, there's some interesting play and counterplay there. Ancient Ziggurat Yorion. Okay, you have my attention. This is a card that's getting printed into Historic on Thursday, and I think it's a very good addition. Yorion Goblins? Okay, you have my attention. We're in the 1-2 bracket now. So, like, this is like the meme magic bracket, basically. Ancient Ziggurat, Skirt Prospector, sack my Prospector, play Aether Vial. That's great. You love to see it, chat. The old filter through the Ancient Ziggurat into Skirt Prospector to play Aether Vial. You love to see it. Alex, 31 months is a long time. I appreciate you keeping me around. Welcome back. Weird. I wonder if they're having some kind of issues this morning. A couple other people said they finished the tutorial and it's not popping up. Let me ping my person. It clearly was working at some point. It was ticking up over the last day when people are using it from the YouTube link. Oh, if you did it previously, yeah, you probably don't get counted again if you've already done it. I would assume. Recon Bravo team, thanks for the 14 months. Welcome back. Yeah, I would be surprised if they let you double dip. I'd assume it leaves. If it's been on your computer before, it knows it's been on your computer before. Or if you've registered an account with that email or whatever. It's only for new people. Am I attacking here? My hand's pretty bad. Oh, I don't have blue mana currently. I was going to say we could play this and copy this. I think we're just playing Bird of Paradise here. And we're playing the old Grey Ogre out. I'm not attacking with the 1/1. There's a good chance they put something into play off Aether Vial here that like blocks the 1/1s for free. Storm count at 1. Thanks for the 2 months. I appreciate it. Welcome back. Thanks for keeping me around. Your oven door just split in half. Rough. Well, so much for that Bird of Paradise. You have to pop up in the corner. Tower Knight, thanks for 17 months. If you've already registered with if you've done the raid thing before, you can't do it a second time. So people that have been here a while, if you did it once before, you can't use the same email and get credit again. It's only for new people. Mostly just in a holding pattern here. I wonder what their mana base looks like that they cast Yori in. Must be Ancient Ziggurat, so there are things like that. Because this is only a creature from your hand, right? Yeah, you can't Aether Vial on the companion. I'm holding on to this other Spirit Guide in my hand for now. Because if we draw Lukka, it's a 5th mana to let me cast Lukka. It doesn't look like it, Supali. It didn't pop up here this morning. Okay. Oh, I guess I actually don't even really need the land now. Because now the Oath lets me cast with any color here. And then I'm going to go ahead and copy Season Boy here and draw 2 cards, or loot 2. We are 1 and 2. We have hit the Yori and Goblins bracket. Toaster ovens are wild. Christy and I actually just recently got a toaster oven because our pop-up toaster that we were just using for waffles and bread broke, so we decided to get a nice toaster oven. And like they are really, really complicated pieces of technology with a lot of features. They do a lot. Yeah, it has an air fryer built into it too. Champion a goblin. This deals 3 damage to any target. Alright, we're super dead. Never beating that card. Alright, I'm gonna click submit on the play. Let's just try and run them down. On the draw, maybe we'll bring in some Path to Exiles to be interactive, but like, if we can't race an 80-card Goblin deck, we're just gonna take this one and throw it away. Speaking of things getting air fried, right? Ooh, Planebound Accomplice means we get to do the thing next turn, right? So next, if they don't kill this, which they could kill this, if they have the goblin removal, they could kill this. But if they don't kill this, we get to play Planebound Accomplice next turn, and then put Lukka into play, and Lukka turns Planebound Accomplice into Emrakul on turn 3, which should be enough to beat goblins. Okay, turn 3 Emrakul it is. Like I said, should be fast enough to just race the goblins deck. And it looks like we are not that different from standard. I mean, turn 3 is pretty quick, right? Like standard, your turn 5ing Luke. Your turn 5ing agent things with Lukka. This is turn 3. It's a pretty, like 3 to 5 is a pretty big difference. So again, how this works is Lukka turns Planebound Accomplice into either Emrakul or Felidar Guardian, and when Felidar Guardian comes into play, it blinks Lukka, letting him use his ability again, and then Felidar Guardian guaranteed turns into Emrakul, because Emrakul's the only thing in my deck that's a creature that costs more than 4. And then because we blinked the Lukka here, in the event that they have a way to answer this Emrakul, the Lukka actually stays in play, which is great. Yeah, I was gonna run it back. This is pretty reasonable. I think I'm gonna bottom the birds. It's just like a ramp piece that dies. Okay, with Arbor Elf, we probably risk it for the biscuit. Heard Bezos is getting close to $1 trillion. Thought he could give you 350. Thanks for the 350 from Bezos, Sermon. I appreciate it. $1 trillion can't be real, right? That's a joke, right? Yeah, he's 100 billion. Can we get a source on that? Yeah, like trillion can't be real. Trillion's a lot. Be worth by 2026. 2026, sure. 2026 is a while. 2026 also assumes that, like, nothing changes in the world fundamentally between now and then. Which is a tall ask. I mean, Jeff Bezos isn't the only ultra millionaire like that, ultra billionaire. Like, there are a lot of people that have similar amounts of wealth. So we don't need just a Jeff Bezos tax. We need appropriately scaling taxes for people that make incredible amounts of money. He's just the most visible. Yeah. Hey, Draken, thank you for the very generous Tier 3 build around. Phyrexian Obliterator build around. Yeah, definitely. I'll get that added. So, I think we're on the Saheeli copy Pyromancer plan. I guess they just Crater Maker this if I do that. So that's probably not worth it. That sounds great though. Oh, I needed that untap to play this turn, right? That was a mistake. So I think I'm going to ditch the Planebound Accomplice here, so that way if I draw a cat, I can cast it. Oh, I should have scryed first, right? Yeah, I should have scryed one. We're going to see a cat on top of my deck and be real sad here. Oh, I guess I could have down-ticked on Seasoned Pyromancer here, since they tapped out. Yeah, that's probably the better line. Yeah, the people who say you'll get more conservative as you get older, they're just trying to justify the fact that as they got older, they failed to continue to have any source of empathy or caring for other people. Oh, that's true. That's true. They could have sacked a goblin to shoot it. Yeah, it's also not a guarantee either. But I think in general that mantra that you've heard, I heard that growing up too, growing up in a conservative setting. And like, I agree, that's definitely not the case. This only deals damage to creatures, right? Not players or planeswalkers. It's conservatives who are saying they wish liberals would stop being liberal. Yep. Yep. I would like to draw 2 more cards. I was told once I'm paying taxes, I'll care where my money goes is an excuse for why people hate welfare. Now I'm like, what about all that money we spent on the new super duper rocket? Yeah, exactly, right? One of the greatest cons of my lifetime was that people who make billions of dollars per year convinced people who make $60,000 per year that their real enemy is people who make $20,000 per year. One of the greatest scams ever. Just pretty truly unreal. You have killed my elf. It is. It's kind of impressive. It is an impressive amount of propaganda. We have cat comboed there, or am I hallucinating? Well, I don't have a cat in my hand. So when I draw the cat next turn, we can try. The cat's on top of our deck. Are we dead? Why are we dead? Murderous red cap is dead. Oh, is there a red cap in here already? Yeah, they totally revealed a red cap earlier. Okay, so Prospector plus Gurmgully plus red cap is infinite. Oh, Matron tutored it up. Yeah, that makes sense. Alright, I'm not gonna play the last one. This deck doesn't seem very good. This seems like a pretty classic example of our deck is neither linear enough nor interactive enough to be competitive in Modern. Heartstat, thanks for the quarter of a year. I appreciate that. So, yeah, I think this one felt like a pretty spectacular letdown. We lost to both someone being incredibly interactive and breaking up our piece with a bunch of counterspells, and we also just lost 2 races to combo goblins and ad nauseum. The fact that the majority of what our comboing is doing is putting an Emrakul into play that can't attack right away. It just isn't good enough in Modern. There's too many decks that, like, after you put Emrakul into play, you're like, okay, I need another turn or 2 turns. It's just not fast enough. Yeah. All right, we're gonna dive on into some historic on Magic Arena. I'm super excited, chat. Today's our last day playing historic constructed events. The ladder comes back tomorrow. I'm gonna do a quick ad roll where everything's set up and flipped over. We'll be back with some historic in just a moment. Is it actually called the Super Duper Rocket? That's what Trump called it in a press briefing. In a press briefing, Donald Trump called it the Super Duper Rocket. The historic ladder is coming back permanently. Those are literal words that came out of the mouth of the President of the United States. Welcome back, Robert. Did I miss it? Did I pop that up? Been watching since Modern Paper Wednesday nights. Keep forgetting to use my basic bucks. Thanks for the word. Thanks for dropping off the Prime. I appreciate it. Sorry, got a couple of things going on. Trying to get things flipped over. Jeff did miss my sub, but I'll take the time out. Welcome back, Manju. Welcome back. Pengu Power, let's get you a sword to go with that shield. Thanks for the 12 months of support. I appreciate the entire year. Welcome back. I did see that Windows is getting a package manager. That's exciting. Post-Balmer Microsoft is wild. Welcome back, Wicked Games. I appreciate the 20 months. Yeah, the Trump super duper missile thing feels like one of those things where you're like,